Awesome stuff, guys. Welcome back to another DePIN Happy Hour with my amazing co-host. And we have Brandon here from Conduit Network. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if you guys saw the news today. There was the 401k news about adding crypto to our 401ks. So are we adding DePINs to our 401ks? That's why I've titled this episode. I know for sure I'll be adding some DePIN tokens into mine. I would love to know if you guys plan on doing the same.
What's a 401k?
Exactly.
For a wonk.
That's a good start. And then the follow-up question is, if you do have a 401k, will you or will you not be reallocating all of your assets to fart coin?
100%. Yeah. I'm looking for those fart gains. I desperately need them.
No comment. Yeah. Is a 401k a viable retirement platform? Like, I don't think so at this point. Who has a 401k? I don't. Well, I don't have in the traditional sense of 401k. But yeah.
I have a Roth. I don't have a 401k.
Yeah. I had a 401k. I rolled over into a traditional brokerage IRA when I left my corporate job. I rolled that into a BitX fund and back last August. It's been pretty good.
Nice. Okay. Investment advice from Brad. I love it.
Not investment advice. Not investment.
Start off the whole show just like they're not financial.
Worked out pretty well.
I remember I was in the same position as Brad, where I ended up rolling my 401k over to an independent, retirement account, and it was just before. I mean, literally just before the Bitcoin ETF was going in, and I was still the same way I'm batshit crazy now. I was still batshit crazy before, and I just allocated a overwhelming majority of my portfolio to the Bitcoin ETF. Same thing with the Ethereum ETF, even though I know many people are big time haters of Ethereum, but that's okay. I'm gonna tell you, that has probably been the best play I've made in the last 2 years. Like buy, set, forget. Good times.
That question about 401ks, it probably depends on the 401k. Because every company has different offerings, and that's the one problem with 401ks is generally it's very limited in what you can invest in. Generally, if your company matches your 401k, you want to hit that match because that's free money. Anything above and beyond that, I would always go to a traditional IRA because you can have a lot more options that way. But this would be a game changer. I just don't know will they give you certain options to invest in crypto with your 401ks, or it'd be open season to be able to invest in DePIN projects? I feel like there's gonna have to be more structure than that.
Do we have any context for what they're proposing at the current moment in time?
We don't.
I think the only thing that happened was an executive order was signed by Trump saying, hey, you can't not. It's not that you can't not have crypto offerings, but you can have crypto in your 401k now. It's pretty much what he's saying. You can have crypto in your retirement accounts, your 401ks, your Roth, and all that stuff, directly instead of just going through the ETFs. Was it Kutane Cards said? Yeah. What was it? Bob says company match makes it worth having a 401k. Mm-hmm. That's the only argument I would say is great for a 401k is getting the instant 100% return from a company match. I do say that is nice. What's up?
There's also some Roth 401ks now, so that's interesting because your Roth IRA you can only contribute up to a certain income level. Your Roth 401k, I don't think it matters what your income level is, and you can definitely contribute to that. So that's definitely an advantage.
Well, I think anything Roth though, you have a maximum limit of 6,000, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying your Roth IRA, once you make over 140k or something a year, you can't
you're banned from doing it. Yeah, but no, if you're married, it's 225. I think
that sounds right. But the Roth 401k, I don't think there's necessarily an income limitation. I think you can contribute regardless. So not all companies offer it. They just started offering it within the last few years. But that is also another viable reason to contribute.
Isn't there the deep? Not I was going to say deep in Jesus. Isn't there a backdoor, a Roth backdoor, from a traditional IRA account or a 401k? So basically, you can convert your 401k to a Roth at the end of the year or something. You can backdoor it.
Definitely for a 401k, you can. I believe you can convert it, but I think that becomes a taxable event. at that point because
Go to a self-directed IRA.
yeah, because the Roth is like taxed now and then it's not taxed later. So I think if you were to roll over a traditional 401k into a Roth, I believe it would be treated as tax.
Yeah, see, Bob's saying you can do a backdoor Roth without income limitations.
Oh, on like a Roth IRA?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I wasn't
That's
aware
very
of that.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had the 401k option for a little bit now since I left my job, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice for sure if they had like a little Bitcoin sign there. I could just like start dumping in that because I know a lot of companies they do like their company stock or they just like allow like generic products like the S&P 500 or something like little ETFs in there. So Bob's saying it's a taxable event, so you are right, Brad.
Okay.
Yeah.
When do you guys think we're gonna get a DePIN ETF?
Dude, that's what I'm excited for. Oh my god, that's all I want is a DePIN ETF.
I mean, if there's like a Pengu freaking ETF that's gonna get approved, there should be a DePIN one. Like, let's be real.
What do you think would be in the ETF? Like, what allotment of assets?
I think it'd be DePINs with a certain basically like a certain one they've had to have been around for some time, and then two
Funding by
like,
multi-coin.
Yeah,
That's the
that
threshold.
too. And maybe a certain market cap threshold, like similar to what like the S&P 500 does.
I could see that. I bet you'd have like helium and render in there. Would be a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No BTC
Really?
in the nerd mode 401k.
What's that?
I'm just reading Rusty's comment. No BTC in the nerd node 401. Got to take that up with Nate.
That's
That's a discussion you're gonna have to
Damn,
have.
Rusty.
I bet there's no ETH though. That one I can feel
That's for
confident in
sure.
saying you don't have.
That's for sure.
99%.
8% sword chain.
Sword chain.
Sword chain, Pulse chain. What's the other one that we were talking? Ripple, right? Fully allocated in Ripple.
I mean, apparently you've done pretty decent if that's the case.
I put my entire net worth in Ripple after that last space we did. I didn't tell you guys that.
What?
It's a joke.
You did?
Didn't
Fuck
they?
no.
Didn't their all their legal
Absolutely
stuff?
not.
I think all of the XRP's legal stuff just
all
got
their
cleared
legals,
up.
all their legal troubles are
Yep.
gone now.
Yeah.
It is smooth sailing for them. I mean, honestly, it just really depends. I've never been a huge fan of Ripple, but I guess kudos. I don't know.
The Pudgy Penguins intern responded to like I think it was Watcher Guru or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he was like, this is something to study. The way that you guys have such a great community. Maybe one day someone won't be able to explain what XRP is.
It's the future, bro. It's the future. All the banks are going to use it.
All the
Quez.
banks
You
are going
didn't-
to use
It's
it.
replacing Swift.
It's
Come on,
replacing
Quest.
Swift, Quez. You don't understand. It's just because you're not thinking about this.
You're not doing your homework.
You're
That's
not
really
doing
all.
your homework. Just do your research, Quez. Jeez. We're the XRP podcast now, ladies and gentlemen.
Jesus.
Rebrand it. Send it.
Ripple roast. That's what we'll call it. Ripple roast.
Ripple roast. Well, if we're roasting Ripple, we got to roast Ethereum now, right? Just request.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I mean, the foundation's only been like selling their ETH since when, right, Brian? Like, they've only been
seriously.
dumping their ETH for so long. I mean,
Hundreds
Well-
of millions in operation cost.
What was ETH at? Like 3,800, 3,900? Like, they're doing pretty good. Moving up.
Yeah.
Brad, what do you think of an XFIT ETF? That's what Bob's asking about.
Hell yeah. But they don't even have a token yet. I think XFIT is going to be a monster, but I think a lot of these GPU projects are going to do really well, man. There's so much demand for compute right now. And
Yeah.
I think when you look at like potential revenue, I feel like the GPU plays like are going to be the top ones in DePIN
Off the charts.
for sure.
I mean,
Off the charts.
just look at the last week, like all the news in AI.
Yeah.
I feel like there was even somebody who is deeply embedded in the AI ecosystem has probably been blown away with how much there is to keep up. All I'm thinking behind all of that is exactly what we're describing here, like GPU demand. Some people hopefully are positioning themselves accordingly.
There's definitely a lot of upside potential with some of these projects. Exhibits being kind of at the coil layer, obviously the ones that are facilitating kind of the consumer onboarding through their marketplace. Projects that are on the InfraFi side for GPU financing. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening.
And you brought on, William, like, was it USDAI? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be super interesting too, being able to like leverage your GPU assets like that.
Yep.
I think they're going to be a huge company.
Yeah, same. No, I think I think we've only scratched the surface with how much demand there is out there for compute. I mean, I kind of said on the space today, on the Flex space, where I think, we're all kind of building we're working in the oil fields right now. Like we're getting the fuel, we're getting the infrastructure and the fuel ready for.
Do you guys see Scott Bessent came out last week and mentioned decentralized GPU
Yeah,
aggregation?
I saw that and said, "Oh my god, I'm more bullish than ever." Oh, holy crap!
It's crazy, man.
The Treasury Secretary.
Rusty just brought it up. Did you guys see the ChatGPT 5 video that came out? Sort of their product announcement.
I did not see it.
I haven't seen the video.
All I saw was the humanity score after
Link it.
they underperformed against Grok Heavy.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now, guys. We're gonna watch it live on the stream.
It's like 2 hours. We're not.
Yeah, we're watching the whole
2 hours
on the stream right now.
Who has time for this? Yeah,
I watched it on 2x speed just to get the gist, but I listened to it on 2x speed while I was working. Let me be clear.
Not everyone's brains work that way, Tyler.
Well, I'm sorry for people that aren't. But yeah, there was a couple of really interesting kind of demos of. It's going to just take the commoditization of application building to an entirely new level, because what was possible before with vibe coding is going to be blown out of the water with what's happening as a result of some of these bigger models or these newer models.
I don't.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's very interesting because a lot of what we're working on at CertaStrike is like, okay, we could do all these programs and all this stuff, or we could just run an AI model on the back end and have it do a lot of this work for us, and then we can change the prompt and the narrative however we want. It's just gotten ridiculous what you can just do with AI, and very easily just put it on your back end and have it solve a lot of the problems that you'd spend months trying to program.
Yeah, I mean, and Quez, I know you know this because you're a developer too. When you're leveraging Copilot or any of these other tools, when you're building, they've historically been able to get you a little bit of the way there. They can kind of speed up some things, but as soon as they start hallucinating or you need lots of model context within your repository, it becomes challenging at best to get it to do what you want. And I think, I haven't got a chance to play around with it at all, but the next generation of capabilities in terms of its context window and everything else is pretty substantial. So I think they're really aiming to make it a true paired programming experience. They even had the Cursor team come up and do a little demo as part of the ChatGPT 5 announcement. So I think there's some interesting stuff that'll be happening.
I really liked your comment about how, vibe coding is kind of going to be commoditized. Something I see is you'll have your own AI agent that could build the things that you need as you are thinking of them or as the need arises. And it'll all be a matter, again, of how well you could describe what it is that you need. What you said earlier about, hallucinations and things like that. Maybe you guys have seen this meme on dev Twitter. I don't know, but I vibe coded and I saved 2 hours of coding, and then I got 2 hours of debugging instead.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's what most coding is nowadays, just debugging anyway. Mm-hmm. Now with AI, I feel like you just get AI to do a majority of the writing for you. You just come up with the ideas and the format, and then you have to debug the whole thing.
I'm not working as a professional developer, but some of my friends who are still out there, I like to check up with them and just see what it's like. And a lot of them say, they're not using it so much to write the code for them as much as it is kind of what Tyler described as a pair programming. Having someone you could bounce ideas off of. If there's an error in your code,
unit tests,
something you don't understand, trying to contextualize those things for you. Or it might be on this line or whatever.
It just says you're stupid, and you're like, "Damn, okay, thanks."
We all are.
Brandon, I would love your thoughts on this, man. I know you've been hunkered down over,
particularly in the, because maybe this is a good segue, but having those AI models that are personalized to you be private. Being local, being something that you can trust without having other folks that come in and
part of the community, a local part of the community. You don't want it just out there.
Yeah.
Meet your AI at church,
Yeah, I think that the large language models are going to be vastly used for a hyper-focused and, not focused, hyper-calibrated extension of Google search. Sorry, but that's what it is. I think where we're going to go to is an extension of hyper-focused eugenics, which you're going to have SMEs. It's the same way that humans operate. And they'll be trained in very specific models and very specific training so that hallucination doesn't exist. And then when you have boundary lines on those knowledge, they'll go and connect to the other SME, obtain that knowledge from that SME, and come back and do what it needs to do. So when we get there, which like that, for us as an example, that's what we've been building internally is our own models that because we have like specific DSL domain specific language code that isn't out there. It's not a repository we can go to ChatGPT and ask because we wrote it up. We had to train our model on it. And once we did, we found two things that started to occur. First of all, it did really well once we trained it without any prior knowledge on our specific stuff. Right? So hallucination went down drastically. The second thing is that we're able to feed some of our top engineers code and it learned how to mimic its code. So it would write very similar and it wasn't hallucinating with other models that are an abstract understanding that's trying to pull in at the same time and feed you. So of course, privacy, we can talk about that, but I think where you're going to get to on the development side is really refined specific models over subsets and then start bridging a web of the same exact way you would build a human team. The same way. Very domain specific knowledge that then interacts in the way that a team was. If we can get to that point, then we can start to, and I still don't think it's going to replace us. I don't think at all. I think it's going to be a massive human augmentation, which is great.
For sure.
Yeah.
How long do you think that is? Like how far off?
What I just said,
Mm-hmm.
It's already here.
So as far as like replacing jobs though, because you say it's going to it's going to augment, right? So I don't think it's going to fully replace people, but instead of having 10 people, maybe you have one person that can do 10 people's jobs because they're a lot more efficient, right?
That's correct. And your proof point in that, Brad, I don't know, maybe like 4 months ago was the first time that we saw a single founder exit at 80 million.
Insane.
He had no team, nothing. Like you're going to see things like that as just inefficiencies, which means your teams can be made up of higher level experts, right? And you can do junior level work or debugging as an example much faster. I think it's output. And so I could be wrong, but I don't see a replacement because the knowledge continues to need to be fed to said AI to learn, right? Yep. And then it's only as far as I've taught it. At this moment, we're not moving to a point in which it's able to expand upon what it's learned. So who's teaching it? Which means at this moment, we're bound by the knowledge which exists inside of a team. For example, if we build a agenic web of agents to work for us, the knowledge which resides into us is the bounds in which it can do. So
go ahead, sorry.
No, I just say you still need the team knowledge. You still need the starting point.
Do you think, though, that that's going to create this greater divide for people that maybe have incremental value adds on the knowledge transfer process? And so those, like for maybe the top 10% of people in a field, they're going to be fine. It's everybody else that they can kind of get by, but they're the ones that are going to be displaced by this. Do you see that as being a threat?
I do. I'm super cautious to say displaced because I just don't know exactly how it's going to work out. Humans are really good at evolving and fitting it and finding niches among it. Yeah. And so I still feel like overall, if we looked at percentage, I still am in the camp of augmentation, meaning that elements of what people do on a daily basis are going to drastically shift.
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting to me. Like if we look at this at a different state, a non-technical state, if you guys entertain me for a second, which is the human identity is actually to be creative. AI is not that creative, especially at the moment at all. So if you can free humans up on their tasks to then be creative and strategic, that's a powerhouse organization. So get them out of the task levels in which
AI can offload and do and get minds back to being solving complex problems and being creative. That I think is that's the augmentation, the combination between the two that gets really, really interesting for the organizations that know how to end up putting that together and getting people back to a space in which they spend 90% of the time on the problem, 10% on the solution versus doing work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine the company, the employee morale boost from that too, like doing actual useful work.
Yeah.
We spend so much time doing arduous bullshit. Like
there's so much bloat in companies, dude. So much bloat. It's insane. HR is just a big tumor.
HR professionals hear that one.
Yeah, unless you're at a
when DePIN HR company. No.
Literally, dude.
But I definitely would definitely agree with that, with your take there, Brandon and Brad. Like one of the examples that they showed on the OpenAI demo today was the guy had this idea for a game that he wanted to build for his little cousin, and so he literally in the live demo was able to build this thing up, and it was somewhat gimmicky, but it was kind of indicative of where it's going, which is, hey, I've always had this interesting novel idea. I would have historically said 90% of my time was spent on the solution trying to develop it, 10% of the problem. Now you can inverse that, where I don't know anything about game development, but I've got 10% of the idea, 90% of the work is now handled by AI to be able to solve it for you. And so that may create a catalyst for all of these kind of new creative / experiential development paths that do change how humans interact with each other, and that can create new economies. I'm also similarly cautious of this is going to replace everybody's job, because they said that about pretty much every revolution that we've had. And you're right, humans have been pretty darn good at adapting and figuring out what you do next. And
it just changes the job market. It doesn't replace the jobs. It just changes the market. Like jobs will change.
Yeah, new jobs.
You can't downplay that there isn't going to be rough patches during that transition period.
Yeah.
Like you're even starting to see that come out in the job numbers. I know Brad and I were talking about this a couple of days ago. It's like, well, we can just have one person who's upskilled with AI start to take over what would have historically taken a couple jobs. And so that's going to impact. And so there's going to be the growing pains associated with that upskilling process. But once we've gotten there, it's probably going to be the same revolution that we've seen every other time they've invented the printing press or the car manufacturing line, whatever it may be.
Industrial revolution, all that.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point with your analogy on the ChatGPT video. Like one of the other ways that we're using it is for insane rapid prototyping.
Right.
Like we're not worrying about UI UX of something. We're prototyping to prove that the back end to front end connection, that our API layer, which is an API of APIs, all of that is working correctly, and that the AI is able to produce a rapid prototype application out the front, which means we now know that we can hand something to developers to move quickly because we've proven that all the way through. So that would be an example that like we don't need to go build a bunch of prototypes. How do we get the AI to say, here's all the tooling for you.
Yep.
We believe that it's ready to go. Either it works or it doesn't, and let's prove that out through the prototyping.
Yeah, 100%. Robert just said, I created a social media app today that is 80% fully done in less than 3 minutes of prompting. That's a feature. And by the way, one thing that I do believe this kind of evolution of AI is going to create in terms of moats is for the things like what you talked about with your effective, I'll paraphrase, but how you're thinking about constructing like a Solidity replacement or alternative where it's not, you can't use AI for that.
Yep.
This is going to create the moats where it's everything else that you could build front end facing or kind of these applications will be somewhat commoditized because anybody will have the ability to do it. It's the pieces where AI can't fit in that if you can then iterate as quickly as possible on all those other more commoditized pieces with the AI, you'll be able to develop something that's very, very difficult to replace or compete with, because you still need the people that know how to develop those things and build it so it can all be homogenous or synergistic. And so I do think that there will be a opportunity for people that know how to do more than just what the AI can spit out to use that to just move more quickly and really develop a moat that's quite different.
And let me extend it again. So in the same way that we're using AI to check certain things, develop APIs, and then do rapid front-end prototyping, we're also sitting here going like at the same time, we have no use and need for docs anymore. We just trained the entire AI on all of our front end to back end, proved it, which means the doc section is a chat.
Yeah.
You don't need to read anymore. You don't need to watch videos. Nothing.
Thank God. I'm tired of reading documentation.
I know.
Especially
Now
city
you're
documentation.
engaging with our model or our trained AI to go build very rapidly, right? So that's the other thing, that we're not only using it to test and harden what I'm talking about, the infrastructure here, but we're also turning around going like, well, this is our dev concept right here.
Yo, shout out to Rahid, man. It's my boy. I did want to add one thing. I was at IBM in 2019, and at that point, Watson was still like, at least to me, was like the greatest extension of AI that I'd ever been exposed to at that point. There was no generative stuff like ChatGPT, all that stuff. And even then, the commentary that they constantly would say is, this AI shit is not designed to replace people. It's designed to augment how you work. And that was in 2019, here we are 6 years later, and still it's very much the case. And I think it's so cool because, as Robert just described, you're letting humanity be creative. And now the best ideas get to bubble up to the top. And
Right.
what Tyler was saying about those folks who are maybe like, maybe they're not in the top 10% of their, engineering team or whatever. The good news, which yes, there will be some rough patches. The good news is you will be forced, or really get the opportunity to start thinking of things on your own,
Yep.
and you get to now solve problems that either you are seeing in your friend group or in your family or in your own life, using these tools to make things real, because you already have a decent amount of knowledge. And now it's just, again, like bubbling those ideas to the top and making them real. I think this is the greatest era of humanity ever. Like, and we're living in it right now.
Well, I mean, like the reason I got into software development was because I had things that I wanted to create that I knew I didn't have the ability to do. And so this was pre AI era. I was like, if I want to be able to do any of this stuff, I'm going to have to go down this lifelong, arduous learning process that's doesn't end. It's really difficult, and there's some people that it just clicks for them, but it's not that it's a trivial thing for everybody to figure out. And so for the maybe, I don't know, call it like the intro, the 30% of kind of junior developers out there, you could now leverage something like an AI to be able to prompt effectively your way to an MVP style product. And so I think that's going to be a really big enabler for creativity for the folks who didn't go down the software development path, and now they're like, well, I can actually do this on my own if I want to. And so that's going to be a really big unlock for what we have.
And
I was gonna say I learned JavaScript. Like I just finished learning JavaScript and React and everything like that. And like built my very first like basic website right before ChatGPT came out. And then it came out. I said, okay, well, that was a big waste of time. And I was just like, cool. I'll just wait for this thing to get better, I guess. So I stopped learning how to code after that point. I was kind of thankful though, because I know how to read. Like I can like understand now kind of basic. Like even if it's a different language, I can like read through and say, oh, I understand like what that's kind of trying to do. And that is a nice skill to have. But I mean, to Robert's point, to everyone's point here too, like I just used Claude the other day to build. It took me 30 minutes to build an app for a buddy of mine. He had like a business idea, and he's like, oh, how easy would it be to like build an app to do this? And I just built an MVP for him like immediately. And I was like, yep, here you go. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, go start your business, dude.
I had a very good friend of mine, my younger brother's best friend. He approached me and he was like, yo, man, so like, my dad's got this business and I want to make him a website and I want to do all this stuff, and I'll pay you to do it. And I was like, his name's Lawson. And I'm like, Lolly, you could just prompt it. Like just go to ChatGPT for free, no money whatsoever. I'm willing to bet the basic free version is probably good enough to at least get you an MVP. And then from there, I'm happy to help you out if we need that. But like you could probably do this on your own. And he ended up not doing it, but yeah, go ahead.
I think the interesting thing about these two anecdotes is that it goes to show the place in the market where we're at right now, which is you had two different people that had these two different ideas, and they didn't know that they could go to one of these large language models and effectively prompt their way to solving their own problem. Like that is really telling of where we're at in this whole, continuum of AI augmentation or enablement. So
We're
I
still
mean,
kind of
that
early in
couldn't be
front.
more true, especially down here where Quez and I are at. Like, I think especially in the South. Like,
What are you trying to say, Will? Are you shitting on Florida?
No, I'm not shitting on Florida. What I'm saying is there's a different type of mentality down here. Like when it comes to like Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, and it's like you have this like blue collar class here that is very, very like stubborn to change. Like they just like will not change. So they see like robots taking their jobs and going, oh hell, like gosh darn it, like fuck, like they couldn't replace me. They don't know how to do all this stuff, work on the farm and all this stuff. And it's very true. I mean, I have this argument with a lot of people. And I love my state. Yeah, Florida number one. Hell yeah, Rusty. Florida is number one. But like, I remember Alex Finn making a post, and he was like, "Oh, if you don't learn AI, like you're donezo. Like you're never gonna be able to compete." And I was like, "Dude, drive through South Georgia and tell me that. Like, tell all of them that. Like, have fun communicating that. Like, go to Bainbridge, Georgia, dude, 45 minutes north of me, and go tell people that AI are coming for their jobs. They're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna say, "Oh, you're dumb. Like you clearly don't live around here, city boy." And it's just, I just think like to your point, we are in that era of the market where there are these tools out there, but a lot of people, especially in these more rural regions, are just like ignorant by choice, you know, of those changes happening.
Will's making a lot of enemies tonight. All the rural folks be like, this guy just called us dumb.
I did not call
lazy.
them dumb. I said they're stubborn to change. They don't like technology. They don't like the new stuff coming. Like they're very like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've been told that so many times down here, especially when I'm trying to onboard people with helium hotspots. Yeah. They say, oh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm like, okay, well,
it is broke. Just tell them it is broke.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, well, it's just, again, it's the stubbornness. Like it's not the lack of intelligence. Like they could learn it if they, you know, just gave it a little bit of time, but like there's not going to. It's a culture thing.
They just think you're like a snake oil salesman at this point, right?
Yes.
Like all of us were like, oh, well, if you use this, you can fire like 4 people and save all this money. And then they're like, no, that doesn't make sense. We've never done work without actually having to employ people before.
I don't like state income tax or cold. There you go, baby. Florida's the best. Florida's number one, honestly.
Yeah. Yes, there's crazy shit that happens, but it's the best state on the planet. So, yeah, no, I get where he's coming from in terms of like, you know, people maybe being resistant to change. I just think at some point it's going to become a matter of like, if I have this idea, if I have this problem, and actually before I even get into that, we are in this tiny ass bubble, like this big, right?
Yeah.
Not even just in DePIN and then crypto, and then even outside of that, like AI. We're in this tiny ass bubble where most people are not privy to what's happening with AI, much less with crypto, much less with DePIN. And, you know, we call it ignorance, Will, but I actually don't think ignorant is to say that you are willfully ignoring.
No. It's not ignorance. It's just stubbornness. Like it's like a stubbornness to like, I don't like really care for that. Like it's just like they know it exists. They know it's there. It just hasn't like hit them in the face yet. Like it hasn't come to the phone yet. Like it hasn't come to the phone in a very like, you know, easy, accessible way to the point where I could just like tell my phone, hey, build me an app, and it does it. Like once it's there, everyone's going to be using it.
Yep. But
it's not there yet. Like it still requires some thoughtful input, and people just say, oh, well, I have too much on my mind. I'm too tired. That sounds like a lot of work. I'm not doing that.
I'll say this. My pops is the smartest man that I know, bar none. And I've learned so much from that guy. It's incredible. And I feel like, because I told him about AI and all this shit years ago, and I showed him how it works and like, you know, all the cool stuff that you could do. I mean, just how much further we've come since then is it also impressive. But I feel like when someone like my dad learns how to use a tool like this, he's already unstoppable. You know, what's next for him will be world domination, because again, he'll see how to make these ideas that he has in his head real. And I don't know. I think it's going to be a big unlock for a lot of people, regardless of their age.
I agree.
We might have to do a stream where we bring all our parents on one of these days. So that'd be
great. You guys would love my dad. My dad's hilarious.
I got a question before Brandon runs. Brandon, so a lot of the discussion has been about, there's a question in the Flex space earlier today about where AI is going to be in 5 years. And as funny as the only thing I could think of is, I think in 18 months, we're going to have a severe data breach, and we're going to realize that AI is not as secure as we thought it was. What's your take on those two thoughts? Where's AI going in 5 years, and what about security in AI? Is it a problem?
It's a huge problem. It's the same problem that we had when we came into the internet, which was security was not thought of, and everyone got super excited about all the things that you could go build, and security became an afterthought. And the reality, I think I've said this on this stream before, maybe not, but the reality with security is that it's 263 days before a breach is detected currently today.
Wow.
And then it's another 30 to 35 days to mitigate it. What's the point?
Then there's another 2 years before they tell the public.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
When you talk about a data breach on AI, we've already had them. It's already occurred in many ways.
It's the greatest attack vector right now for data sets.
And the problem with this right now is for everything that we're saying and all the rest of this conversation, which is how much it has the opportunity to unleash latent human potential, because that is a truth. Quez, what you said about your dad is an example of latent human potential and his ability to unleash that. And there's a lot of people globally that is the case. The problem is that you're going to have people realizing that and running to feed it everything that it needs. But then who owns that? Who owns the data and what you've talked to it? Who owns the IP?
Papa Sam.
Because that is your IP. And so that's where it's going to get really interesting really quick. And then all of this on the IP side, both from security, but then also IP has got to go through litigation. Well, we're going to be 5 years out from now before that's even remotely starts to get sorted out.
Yeah.
So what happens in between now and 5 years? So, I wish that we had more of our leaders in AI in the different companies that were focused directly on speaking into this and solving for it. But unfortunately, right now you've got a gold rush, which is what everyone's doing. And security isn't sexy. It's not fun. And it is also a pain. It's really hard to do. So you go after the gold rush, and I guess we'll deal with the fallout later. But it's real. And it's one of my biggest concerns. Is why I'm a big advocate for completely sovereign models that run locally, that when you tell it whatever you want, you're the one that's in control. But we're not there yet. We're not. You got to have infrastructure to support that. And we're just not there. So in the meantime, I guess we'll have to handle it when it comes. But do I think it's going to come? I would say 100%. It's not if, it's when.
Yeah, all these people building models and apps and stuff with ChatGPT backend, and then all of a sudden ChatGPT gets compromised. What happens?
And honestly, it's more of like it's not really a true supply chain attack, but it's sort of a supply chain attack where you've got a lot of people that are vibe coding their way into these development or into these new applications, and they don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and they're like, oh, I can just stick my API key in the front end, or they'll do things that the AI will default to that they don't know is a vulnerability. And anybody that knows anything about software will say, well, that's the easiest thing to go exploit. And there was actually a guy that this happened to on Twitter where he sort of built his Twitter account around vibe coding applications. So he's like, hey, I can build all these little micro SaaS companies. And he put something out there where I think he left his API keys in the front end of the code and he got like overnight hundreds of thousands of dollars was basically charged to his account because people found the endpoint and they just kept hitting it. And so those kinds of things are real. And so I don't know if it'll be, I mean, obviously you're going to have the data breach concerns from what people are putting into these models. But I think in terms of like the monetary exploits in the short term, I think you're going to see a lot of those come out where people just don't know better. And so they deploy something. They're like, oh, look at my new application. And then someone comes up and gives them a 6-figure bill they didn't even know.
Yep. And I do believe it's incumbent on the people building the infrastructure to take that responsibility on.
Yeah.
The many won't, but I'm just saying I believe that if you're going to be building at that level, then you should be thinking around what is best for humanity. What are the things that they're going to do? What do we already know from history? We've got a whole bunch of clear data on what occurs, and how do we build something that is, safe? And the same thing goes for these projects. One of my biggest concerns on the ones that aren't relatively focused on security, it's like the problem with security is that when you have one of those hacks, we can see how quickly a company can be or a network can be destroyed. Because the one thing that this industry is supposed to bring to the table is trust. And the soon as trust is broken, you have a really hard time getting that back.
Right.
Well, you know
Sure.
something, Brandon. The truth is a lot of the people that have been. I love Tyler's example. I know exactly what gentleman you're talking about because I saw it happen. He's not an engineer. He does
That's
not
the problem.
know best practices. Like, and again, yes, we were just talking about how cool it is that we could build these things like, you know, out of thin air. Robert was talking about 3 minutes of prompting, and Robert, not that you know, I know you're a very smart man, but I don't know if you have an engineering background to have had the awareness or to have asked yourself these questions of, do I have the security measures in place to prevent any major attacks or compromises on this thing that I'm building? And unfortunately, ignorance is not an excuse, but that is a hard lesson a lot of people will learn.
You don't know what you don't know. My
Facts.
grandpa always told me that, and so that's going to be the reality of these situations that'll arise, and you're going to see a lot of. They've gotten better. Like I know that Lovable introduced a thing where instead of, I mean, like it used to be where they had where you just put in the API key into the chat prompt. Now they actually have it where you securely store it in like I think they're integrated with Supabase. So you store it as like properly, and they tell you how to do it. I've only tried the Lovable thing once because I tried it and it didn't work for me, so I gave up on it. But you know, another proof point is like it's actually nice to know how to do this stuff because you can't always rely on AI. But they've definitely done some of the improvements to be able to have the best practices as sort of the forefront. But at the end of the day, if you don't know what the thing's spitting out, you are creating vulnerabilities that you may not be aware of. And that's never going to go away unless you have people that can oversee this. And I mean, unless maybe they do achieve true AGI, in which case that's not a case. But that's above my pay grade to speculate on.
Wait, you're paid? That's kidding.
If and when they achieve that, what we're talking about will be the last thing that we're actually talking about.
Exactly. That's the real conversation.
All right, gents, I got to drop. It's so good to see you all.
Likewise, glad you're
Thanks for
still
jumping on, brother.
proof of humanity. We know that you're proof of.
Yeah.
You're still alive and well.
Proof of liveness.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what we're looking for.
We miss you, man. Hope you're doing well.
We hope you guys are crushing it over at Conduit. We know you are, and we're excited to see
We are
all the
close
fruits of your
to
labor.
some big announcements here, and so we'll stay tuned. But we're good, just grinding away. Really good to see you all.
No, good to see
Oh,
you too,
yeah.
man. If you want to make those
Likewise.
announcements here, man, you're welcome to. You're welcome to make those
I
announcements.
will plan to
on the
do that.
show.
I will plan to do that.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, take care.
Hi,
You
Brandon.
too, man.
Night,
Have
brother.
a good night.
Speaking of weird proof of liveliness, I told Brad this the other day. I'm going to call my dad out. So maybe, I don't know if everybody knows, but Quez, you know who Zuko is?
I know.
Like
Prince
like
is.
like Prince Zuko from Avatar.
No, the guy behind
Wow, you went there,
behind
Mom.
Zcash.
Say them. You broke out there.
Do you know what Zcash is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Zuko's the cryptographer behind Zcash. So him and my dad chat from time to time on Signal, and they send selfies of each other for their proof of liveliness to make sure that they're talking to the same person they think they've been talking to.
What?
And I was with him. Yes, bizarre. I was
That's
with him.
highly intelligent, actually.
Yeah.
At
Respect
this
the fuck
point.
out of that.
I just laughed. I just was like, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like you're taking selfies back and forth. Like this is weird, but it's,
What?
you know.
What if one of them ends up sending like a dick pic or something? That'd be so funny. Proof of liveliness. It's like, Jesus, that's his, all right. I recognize that from anywhere.
Seen that one before.
Ouch.
Jeez.
I think Tyler's dad needs to join us one night because I've heard so much about him. Like he's got to be this highly intelligent guy that would be fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Well, look at his offspring.
His offspring. is really
my
intelligent.
dad runs laps around me. I'm like you, Quez. I'm like, my dad is the smartest person I know.
Brilliant.
My dad's the dumbest person right now. That's so funny, you guys. It's great that you guys have amazing fathers. It's awesome. It's so awesome. I'm so jealous.
I still love you.
You know the
man.
10 Commandments, Will? Yeah.
Honor your father and mother, no matter
Hey,
how
he's not a bad dude. He's just like, I try to tell him things and he makes the same mistakes.
Does he
over
live
and
in
over again.
Florida, Will? Let me ask you a question. Does he live in Florida?
He lives in one of the worst parts of Florida, Jacksonville. Yes.
Okay, so you're just proving my point. about Florida.
Hey, though I will say the beaches in Jacksonville are nice. The beaches in Jacksonville are nice. That's where he lives. Thank goodness, not near downtown. The cesspool that is downtown. So
It's a shit show, unfortunately.
it is. It's the Detroit of Florida. It is literally Detroit.
Yeah.
Like it's awful there.
Mhm.
So awful. I was
No,
born
but,
there, unfortunately.
So I really like something that Robert said earlier. You know, I'd love to just vibe code securely while implementing conduit rails and be able to integrate with any DePIN I want. I'm curious, like, I think we're in this really stagnating point, I guess, with DePIN, where we're doing good on getting community to get involved and like getting a lot of supply up. Some places are getting some demand. That's great. But it makes me wonder, like, from the community standpoint, who is using a lot of this stuff? And I'll give you an example of what I mean. We talked about Kaido before and how folks are, you know, trying to incentivize certain protocols or networks and things of the sort. But I had this gentleman, a community member of mine, who has incessantly been asking us for 375 to get on Kaido. And I keep saying, like, I think that's the worst mistake we would ever make, doing something of that sort. Because the truth is that we're incentivizing people to talk about a product that they don't really use, aside maybe from 375 Go.
Yeah.
Where the thing that I would want to incentivize, or I guess the product reviews that I want, would be the data itself. And the people who are buying the data would be a company like NVIDIA or Google or you name it, right? Like folks that are going to make use of this stuff. So it makes me wonder, like, is there a place for community members to actually be the direct beneficiaries of the services provided from certain DePINs? And if so, which ones? Because I feel like that's something that's kind of missed. Oh, hey, wait a minute.
No, like Strike. So like a lot of what like I think there's a lot of DePINs that have like this. Oh, we're capturing this data. We're going to sell it to these big enterprises, right? A lot of what we're dealing with Strike is we're going to sell to the small business, and there's 100,000 small businesses in the U.S. that will benefit from hyper localized hail data. And then a lot of the other things that we're talking about with what we're calling the real-time community reporting layer will have impacts for local governments, municipalities, and local contractors. So I think that we're going to see a new level of DePIN where we actually have maybe a small business grade product versus like this big, large enterprise product. So I think that stuff's coming. It's just a matter of time. We already have toothbrushes. So, what's next?
That's true.
So true, very true, and very well said there. I guess my take on that quiz, or my answer to your, I guess, so you're saying that you're asking it when the community members become beneficiaries of the data collected, not just the monetization of the data, right?
Right. As opposed to just being on the supply side, are there people that are also consumers of the data that they're helping supply?
Well, it depends on the type of data entirely, right? That's like kind of like in, I'm going to kind of say it like in Silencio's case, like I am, as a person who uses Silencio, I know I can use their Chrome extension and look up, how loud a like hotel is or like an Airbnb is. So that's like a direct benefit for someone like me, a community member. So again, just really depends on the type of data being collected. Like in Strike's example too, like with Brian's example, it's like a direct benefit to those like small business community members. So I think it just really depends. That's my answer.
Decentralized compute, also GPU, I think is going to be like an obvious one for some of the independent developers. But a lot of other stuff, even in the case of 375, I don't know that our community members are going to be the folks that are buying that data.
No, I mean, they'll benefit from the monetization of it. That's what matters, of course. That's what matters.
I'd argue that the kind of enterprise, like the big business B2B cases, are the ones where there's the most upside opportunity, because building a direct consumer business is obviously ridiculously challenging. I mean, Helium's proven some success out in that, but the lion's share of the opportunity is going to be more on the enterprise side. And so I think that by just participating in a network that does have a really clear wedge with either data buyers or whoever they may be, are going to directly benefit from that level of success, even if it means they're not directly purchasing the data or leveraging it in any capacity. But I think for most people, the passive participants, that's probably fine, because at the end of the day, it's like an ROI for your time, right? You just like, whatever I'm participating, I want to get the maximum value out. Well, the maximum value is most likely going to be on some big enterprise style deal, like what you're doing on the 375 AI side.
That's where the money is. I think Demo is a great example of how difficult it is to build having contributors in the Web3 space and also making them your user base in the Web3 space. Like that's incredibly difficult to do. They've had to pivot, obviously, but yeah, I think Tyler's right. I think B2B, they have the deep pockets, man. They have the money to spend.
Yeah.
Well,
and you don't have to worry about like yes, accessibility and ease of use is important, but I feel like you have to worry about it less so because you're dealing with like, I don't want to make this sound terrible on the consumer end, but you're dealing with a kind of higher degree of like maybe like a higher, more capable entity in a sense that you can just like deliver the data on a plate as opposed to making this really pretty application that you have to use in order to access that data.
For sure.
I think I have two thoughts. Let's see if I can remember.
Follow the money, Bob. Follow the money.
Follow the money.
That's what you always have to do. Revenue.
You said earlier, don't do it. Trust me, brother. We're not doing no Cato bullshit. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not
Fuck that shit.
I'm not a hater to people that are farming,
Yeah, so
respect.
my personal thoughts on Kaido are honestly like you might as well just you take that money and like hire 10 content creators that have like really large followings and you'll get literally the same effect and probably better. It'll probably be better.
All of the value is at the top 1%. And yes, they are expensive, but that's why they are at the top 1%.
Yeah,
and because
you'll reach way more people and you'll have way more conversions than with Kaido. I guarantee 100%. it, 100%.
Not even a question.
Brian, sorry, I kind of
no
I
worries.
cut you off. Spurred everybody else to cut you off.
Okay,
So.
well, Silencio, I think what they should do is they need to like hook up with like hotels.com and have like the quietness thing on their thing because I didn't know they had a Chrome extension you could look that stuff up.
Yeah, no, I think they
that's
do.
pretty
So
cool,
if you're on
actually.
hotels.com or if you're on Airbnb, like and you have the address pulled up, it'll like the extension will automatically look up like where the general area is and how loud it is.
Which is just an overlay, though. That's them overlaying their data on those websites.
Yeah.
What would be cool is if those websites, or in this case, the owners of the company, were purchasing it and providing it natively. That would
I think you'll get that eventually. I feel like it really comes with like a little bit maybe more refining and just more growth. Like I think that's all they're really waiting on.
I'm not sure that on the business owner side, like they can quantify sufficient benefits to pay for it, which I think is the challenge. I think anybody that's ever booked an Airbnb or a hotel at a certain place and you know how loud it is and it's annoying, but at the end of the day, you're like location, price, quality. Those are the high level purchasing availability. So I think as a result of that, it's going to be kind of difficult to get the buy-in. But I know as a consumer, it's an awesome ability to go. Like there's nothing worse than when you go and schedule or you book some cool restaurant that you think is going to be a great place for a meeting, and it ends up that you can't hear the person that you're talking to. I know we've all had that experience.
Yeah.
But the business owners don't really give a shit because they're booked. They're super busy.
They want to be packed and loud.
Right. So, it's a little bit of a competing value proposition, but I think I do think there is end consumer value. Now, is that something that I'd paid for? Probably not.
Probably not. Probably not.
Change it from noise level to vibe level. You know what I mean? The vibe's really high, the vibe's really low.
Vibe check. I have to do a vibe check.
Okay, so it's funny. So in 2022, I did the Google UX thing just to kind of brush my chops up on their thing. One of the segments or modules that you had to do was effectively build an application, kind of write all the requirements, and then do the UX guide for that. And so that was the exact project that I submitted. It was basically Silencio, but for the vibe, which was people can check in, show a photo of what it looks like. Because I don't know about you, but back in Seattle, there was this bar that I'd go to it was like a really cool spot, but it was really cool if there was people there. If there weren't people there, it was kind of boring. So I totally would check in at this place to see, are there people, are there friends? When I was still single, that was fun, but it's no, it was not. Brian, thanks for the question. But in any event, I think there is some product market fit opportunity for an app like that. Maybe I'll vibe code it and stick an API key in the front
I feel
end
like you guys ever use Kayak or Yik Yak? You guys ever use that back in the day?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I feel like Yik Yak was like the first iteration of that app because like people would just like use Yik Yak and say like, "Oh, this restaurant's ass" or something, and like, or they just like give their comments on places on the side of also saying, "Hey, come over to my house and like I'll do things with you or whatever," and you're like, "Whoa, what?"
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Yik Yak was a wild app, dude. Those were some wild times.
That was a wild era. All anonymous.
Yeah, that was
anonymous
crazy. I'd see some
like,
crazy shit on there. It was like, what the fuck?
insane, bro.
So I
Rusty,
think we just
hang
found
on,
the
Brian,
DePIN,
real
guys.
quick.
The
We
vibe
did. I'm gonna build it. Don't take my idea, Brian. Rusty's got to run. He said, "Good night, guys." He said, "Also, if you haven't noticed, grid workloads are on NerdNote site. I did not know that, so that is awesome."
We had assemblies in school because of Yik Yak. That's what Rusty said. That's
That's how you know it was doing work.
That's how you know the app was working. It had so many users.
Yeah. So
dude.
the newest, you guys just heard it here. We're making the vibe check DePIN. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
I'm gonna find the like product requirement doc thing that I sent in for that Google UX course I did a couple years ago, 4 years ago, and then we can just prompt that into some app builder, and then
We'll call it vibe check.
No,
Did it pass the vibe check?
So the Vibe Check app's actually perfect for integrating with the vape to earn DePINs too, because you can like vape and vibe.
I don't vibe into the places where they vape. I don't know.
Gotta watch out when you use vibe.
Tyler, you look like you vape. You would look like you vape, even though I know you don't.
I may look like it. I'm not a vapor. I'm not a vapor.
A little bit more health conscious than that, right?
You don't see my Whoop and my Aura and my Kudos. I got all
You have all of that? Man.
It's weird.
Dude, did you guys get the new Salana, by the way? The new Salana Seeker?
No.
It hasn't been shipped yet. Not mine.
Damn, I didn't buy one. I was going to. I don't know. I thought about it and I was like, wait a minute. Like, I don't know. I know it's going to have a lot of airdrops and DePINs built in. And
For sure.
I was going to do some cool review of it, but I don't know.
So I had the original Salana phone, but we were part of the Salana developer program. So I got the dev phone before the real one came out. And the one video I ever posted, I had posted under 3 and I didn't even post under the DePIN stuff because it wasn't really DePIN back then, or like intersecting with DePIN. Got 7,000 views, which was like 500 more than, or 500% more than whatever we'd ever got on any other videos. And it was terrible. Please don't go watch it. But I was literally in my parents' house in their extra, guest room or whatever. And I start off the video saying, the lighting's shitty. I just got this thing in the mail. I've got an iPhone that I'm recording it on. All the comments were terrible video, terrible lighting, blah, 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 blah. I was like, God damn it. I started the thing off by saying, I just recorded this on my phone. Apologies that it looks like shit, but the haters are going to hate.
No one cares. Yeah. Haters are going to hate always.
No one cares.
But
don't worry, in about 10 years, they'll be looking at all the stuff that we're shooting right now and be like, that's crap. You know what I mean?
So what kind of DePIN integrations are in the Salana Seeker? There's Daba,
GeoNet.
GeoNet,
Rover.
Daba, Helium, of course, Rover.
I know of another one.
375.
375. Yeah, 375.
Not confirm nor deny what you got.
Okay. I see you, Quiz.
For now, free shipping.
What else?
$500.
Does that mean the battery's going to die?
Does that mean the battery's going to die fast? There's balance mode, Brad. There's balance mode.
I know. I'm just
You have to use balance mode.
You have to, just keep it on the lowest one. Keep the battery, let it not overheat, We'll see how it performs. Right now, I've only ever seen performance on the Android and on iOS. So if there is the chance that it goes on any other device, we'll have to see how it performs.
Well, Salana Seeker is an Android OS. So
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't gotten any of the devices or the dev devices in my hands to play around
Should we
with.
just order one like right now, guys? Like
I might. I thought about it. They're still $500.
they're $500. Like, so are they like actually like shipping like now or what? Are they
first
back?
It shipped 150K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, if I buy one right now, there's no chance I'm getting it anytime soon.
How many do you think?
Probably
How many do you think they sold?
Probably
they published it?
probably 250,000 at least.
I think it's more. I think
500,000.
I want to say it was even more than that. I don't remember the exact number though.
Did you get one, Brad?
I didn't. And the original phones, people with the airdrops they got, they like made a ton of money on them.
Yeah, the bonk airdrop, the built-in. But
Can't complain.
look at Tyler. He's like,
Tyler's cheesing hard over there.
He's like, I got a
much did
really
you get
awesome
off
bonk
that?
airdrop.
The bonk airdrop alone was like 2,500. People were reselling the phones on eBay for a couple thousand. Yeah,
No way.
yeah.
But was the
Yeah.
phone worth it? Like, that's my thing. Like,
The phone's
are-
hardware is pretty basic. Is from what I heard. The first one, not this. I have no idea about the secret. The first one was I heard it was fairly basic, but
I actually disagree with that. I thought it was pretty high quality. Like I have I have an Android development phone that I use. It's a Google Pixel thing, and the original Salana phone was way higher quality. Like it felt almost like an iPhone. It was metal. My problem is that I'm just not an Android guy. There's no way that I could use it as a daily driver. But I actually thought in terms of the price for quality as an Android phone, let alone the fact that you can, do crypto transactions more seamlessly, I thought it was a pretty good value for money if you're into Android. But then again, I don't like Android all that much.
the Marquise Brown dude, he
hated
he
it.
shit all over that phone.
Hated it
He
all.
was
Oh, really?
like, no amount of cleaners
MKB?
orders are worth this
Yeah.
this hardware, like this piece of shit.
But
Like
I like that he's honest though. You know what I
the
mean?
worst,
Like,
the worst part about the original phone was it had a physical SIM. That was a big pain in the ass because at that point, I mean, this was like what, 3 years ago.
yeah,
Everything at that point was eSIM based.
yeah.
So that was kind of ridiculous.
And maybe
But,
I'll get one. Maybe I'll get one. I don't
is
know.
you can do like helium sim on this thing and just
Yeah,
run
it
free
comes
for-
preloaded with Helium Mobile on there.
I think you
Word.
get 3 months of. I
Yeah.
know they have the free plan, but I think you get 3 months of the higher tier
Premium,
service for
yeah.
free.
Yeah, I saw like if you do like if you do like the free version and you want like an extra gig, it's like $7 a gig or something stupid.
It's kind of expensive.
That is.
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
their
well,
incentive for getting you to do the premium plan, which is $30 now, I think, instead of $20. They up
Is
I
it
still have
really?
the $5 plan.
Nice. I have
Yeah,
a $20 plan because I got in late, but
what am I
Yeah.
doing? I'm on, like
Still paying for
15
Verizon like a bozo.
dude, what?
Yeah.
You're on the Deep and Happy Hour and you don't have a Deep and phone plan? What the hell, dude?
And
I
you
don't-
have like at least T-Mobile, AT&T, but all these other companies, at least they're integrated or intersecting
Yeah.
with Deepin in some capacity. Verizon's the last one hanging out, Quiz. God,
Yeah.
Speaking
Well, you
of
know,
AT&T,
expect better from the lead
I just
janitor.
got 2 of my hotspots just got approved for AT&T offload.
Woo,
I
nice.
saw
for
that.
Helium?
I love that. I was like, dude, because they've only been doing T-Mobile offload, and they've been cooking. But I've been like, man, what the hell, dude? How come they're not doing AT&T? And then I was like, oh shit! I just checked the Helium Geek app, and I was like, oh my god, yes.
That's crazy. The
Yeah.
only reason that I was still using Verizon is because when I was in my hometown, where I live specifically, was the middle of fucking nowhere. So there was, and I went to all of them. I went to T-Mobile and AT&T and all that shit, and we ended up going back to Verizon because at least if I was paying money for a service, I was getting something. It wasn't great, but it was something. And I'm willing to bet that there's very little, minimal, almost non-existent helium coverage in my hometown. Here in Fort Lauderdale, probably there's more. It's probably worthwhile for me to do it now, but
Yeah.
Ooh, damn, dude! I just checked my hotspot units. The freaking amount of users on there just doubled because of AT&T. Oh my god.
bro, swimming in the money
Dude,
right now.
hell
All right,
yes.
let's check.
Maybe not after the happening, but
Oh my god, this is so awesome.
I haven't even noticed the difference in earnings on the happening. Has that even
I actually
gone
haven't
into?
checked.
No, my earnings have been pretty much the same since the halving.
Yeah, I haven't-
The POC earnings
changed.
went down. POC earnings went down, but the data offload has been the same.
let's see. Let's see.
Brad,
Yo,
are you
wh-
checking your IoT deployments right now? How much are they earning?
Oh man, I don't check that often. Let's see.
Busting his balls over here.
Let's see.
Somebody's got to do it.
Balls.
It sounds
Somebody's
like what you
gotta
might
do
be
it.
checking is the a
Not
YouTube
great.
clip on how to be better at PGA. From
Ooh.
what I see in the
Ah.
group chat, man.
Well, the funny thing about that is,
What is funny about it,
the
Brad?
thing that's funny is that Tyler only beat me once because he played with Tiger Woods and I played with my dog shit creative player.
Brad's
The
beating
rest-
me every time. If I'm being honest, I just I like to talk shit. What can I say?
We might play some
But it's-
rounds tonight, maybe.
It's great because we talk about DePIN, we
Yeah.
talk about crypto, we talk about the market while we're playing PG. I'm telling you guys, you got to
Let's
join.
start streaming.
It's a good time.
So
Benny?
I'm down to play PGA with y'all, but I gotta say Battlefield 6 open beta comes out this weekend, so I'll be playing that.
I
Oh,
will
gosh.
say that it's looked sick.
It
From
does
what I've
look
seen.
so
I was-
good.
Big into Battlefield 4, and this
Same.
looks like, yeah.
3 and 4 were just fantastic, and they really went back to their roots on this one. They were like, "Yeah, we're sorry for all the fuck ups we've done."
We're so
With
sorry the last one was so
2042.
terrible. Exactly. It was awful.
So bad.
Oh my gosh, it was
so
awful.
bad. And they're just like, "Hey, we're sorry. We're gonna go back to Battlefield 4." And I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, I'll be on that. So, are you guys playing PGA on your on PC or what?
We're on Xbox, but you can probably play cross-platform.
You can do cross-platform. I haven't done it, but I know you can.
Wait, I don't have you guys as Xbox friends. What the hell, dude?
Yeah, everyone here has an
Dude,
Xbox.
I
or
haven't
PC.
even-
That's crazy.
I have Xbox,
I don't own an
PS5.
Xbox.
I have an Xbox, PS5, and PC. So
Damn.
and a Switch. What about?
Nice, real.
You have the
I
new
have a
Switch?
controller. For
Not yet. No, I'm probably gonna get it eventually because I'm a sucker for the like Zelda at 60 FPS. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because the Switch 1 wasn't bad. I liked it and it still works. But it's just like after holding a Switch 2 in my hands and playing it, I was like, oh fuck. I was like,
Yeah.
this is so much better.
And Mario Kart, I think you can only play the new one on the new console, which is
Yeah,
good.
Nintendo's such grifters, brother.
Yeah,
They're
it's
such
so
assholes, dude. Like the
so
fucking
ridiculous.
such an evil corporation, but they're like, we made the best IP ever, and we know you love it, so we're just gonna make it $90. You're gonna like paying for this shit. You're like,
100%.
oh, god damn it.
Yeah.
I'm so Quez, like a year and a half ago, I got one of the Rogue Allies, the portable gaming PC. I used it but basically I just got it for when I was traveling. If I didn't want to work on my laptop, which I almost always do, but if I didn't want to work, I got it so that I'd be entertained on the plane. It was entertaining for maybe a month of traveling, and now it just sits there and I use Havelo on it to mine DePIN.
Nice.
Solid. We love that.
That's where it's at, dude.
I only bought a Switch for that exact same reason. I was traveling a lot, and I had a lot. I shouldn't say a lot more time, but when I wanted to play, I didn't have something that I could access. So I bought a Switch, and man, plane rides, incredible, loved it. But then after
So-
I was dead. So
When I was flying back from Seattle like 2 weeks ago, I got stuck, so they bumped me to first class on the flight back, and there was this girl, I think, and her dad, and they were sitting in the two seats next to me, and they were playing Mario Kart the whole time on their Switch. I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
that's awesome. That's what me and my girlfriend do. We'll throw the Switch up over in the living room, and then Mario Kart, and she's actually pretty nasty. I'm better, of course, but she's not.
Smash Bros, guys. You guys
Don't
play
have Smash, but we want to get Mario Party because we're starting to, bring
That was my game back in college. Was Smash Bros. Like I would literally wake up in the morning, like crack open a beer, and then like my buddy'd be like, "You
Right.
coming over to play Smash Bros?" And we like go play Smash Bros. And all throughout the weekend, like all until like football like started.
Oh,
Yeah,
speaking of football's on tonight. I gotta hop off the street. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you're running a fantasy league, right, Tyler?
Yeah,
Oh,
Nice.
really?
Nice.
How many people are in your league?
there's 10.
Oh, okay. So I think like 12 is the best. I think 10 is like every team's so stacked.
We kicked 2 people out. We had 12. Yeah.
Wow, that game is until 10 p.m., dude. What the fuck? That's
I'm
I
a-
was gonna say,
The Seahawks play tonight.
I'm a commissioner as well in my league. It's an auction league actually.
Oh, really?
And like 2 keepers. Yeah, it gets pretty intense.
We switched to a keeper league this year, so
Nice.
for the audience who doesn't do fantasy football, can you please elaborate?
basically,
mainly
yeah,
me,
Go
I
ahead,
don't
go ahead,
do
go
it.
ahead, Brad.
Okay, so basically you can keep one player from your roster from the year before. So like a traditional draft, if you draft in like let's say like the 10th round, and this year they'd be like a first round pick, you generally can keep them for the same round that you kept them last year, or it moves up like around like 9th round or something. But I do auction league where you have like a set budget and you can bid on different players. Which I think is better because as opposed to like a snake draft where you don't have any control over what order you're in, and the auction draft you have like an equal chance at every player.
Nice.
Yeah,
I've never
Nice.
participated in any of it because I just feel like it's so much to keep up with. And
Yeah.
if I were to do it, I did do it once in my life, but it was for basketball. And
Oh, that's the worst.
everyone that I
Yeah.
did it with
It's the
was like
worst.
They gave up after like 2 weeks, and I was like, all right, well.
So you know what I did? What I do because I don't have time to like go through and track the stats and do all this. I like watching, but I paid for this AI tool to help me pick all my drafts or all my draft picks because I just didn't want to invest the time to go through and read all the stats on players and blah 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 blah. But anyway, so what does football have to do with DePIN? Well, here's what it has to do with. Deep is sponsoring the stream, so if you are watching and you have yet to pick up your DIN NFT, you should go do so because it is your software license to run a new hardware device on the network and earn, as well as your place in line for getting a Deep device. And we all have Deep devices. Some of us have more than one. We are fans. We are appreciative of them for sponsoring the stream.
Yeah, it's just on deep.network, guys. That's 3 E's. So that's deep.network. And then you go and then on the main page, you will see the button to buy one of these things. Again, just like Tyler said, you will need one of these things to run a future Deep Network device. This acts as your reservation/node license. So definitely grab one if you're interested in participating. We love our Deep devices. So that's why we're sharing it with you guys. We love working with the Deep team. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.
Didn't they just have a big announcement? It was like, is it Beamable?
Yeah, so Beamable alpha node checker nodes or whatever like went live, and like I guess there was like a deep.
Well, the sale went live. The nodes
sale
went
went
live.
The nodes
don't go live till fall.
Okay.
But Tashi and Beamable are now working together. And
yes.
Now Beamable and Deep are working together. So why not buy a Deep device right now and be part of all three?
Yeah,
it's
honestly, Beamable
really
is
cool.
Huge. Tashi's awesome. Obviously, we love Ken, but we just had John on the Flux space last week, and that was a really good space. And he explained Beamable really well. And I honestly super bullish on what they're doing, and I'm really happy that Deep partnered up with them.
John's a legend in the game development space. I had a really funny, I met him at a random consensus party 2 years ago. So he came on the podcast when they were thinking about doing Deep and stuff, but they hadn't really committed to it quite a while ago. But it's awesome to see their progression and what they're doing. But he's certified in game development, and they've already got some pretty legitimate partners that are going to be leveraging the network, and they're already leveraging their Web 2 business development tools for game dev stuff. But it's it's great to see, and you love to see the Tashi Beamable intersection. I know we're all here for that because we all like Tashi as well. So
I love that they're basically continuing to support the Stop Killing Games directive. I guess like in a nutshell, a lot of games end up winding down after a while because the server costs are just way too much to keep up, and then folks who paid money for that game no longer could access it. So, you can kind of look at Tashi and now with Beamable as this alternative mechanism to keep a game alive, such that it stood up by the people who want to play it. So I think that's pretty sick. If you are a gamer and you're interested in this kind of directive, or you've been affected by your favorite game suddenly being put offline, that's definitely two cool projects to check out as well.
How is the Beamable Network and Tashi? How have they both not contacted Stop Killing Games? The movement Stop Killing Games. Have you heard about that?
I don't know if it's like I don't know if there's like a single entity that they have to reach out to. I think it's more so a movement. No.
There's a founder of the movement though. It's like this really pale, skinny white dude. I forgot his name, but he looked gangly on stream. But no, Stop Killing Games, their petition's almost at 1 million, I think, million signatures in Europe. Yeah, so I that sounds like a great kind of link up though. Like they could literally advertise with Stop Killing Games, get a lot of exposure there, and say, hey, listen, we agree, stop killing our games, and listen, they can live on Beamable and Tashi. Like I don't know, that just makes sense to me.
Love it.
The Stop Killing Games thing is an interesting argument because you're forcing game companies to create an exit plan for no longer supporting a game, right? So the problem is what happens when the business goes under so fast that it's like insolvent, and then all of a sudden now it's gone. Does everybody that bought the game now have a lawsuit, a possibility to sue that company?
Well, that's the idea, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I bought this product, like it shouldn't
Yeah.
go away because you just stopped running the servers and you said, "Oh, we're pulling the plug. Sorry." Like, and so I think with something like Beamable and Tashi, like you don't have to do that anymore. Like you just like really offload it to that, leave it on there forever. It costs a fraction to do that, you know, and still have a really solid experience. So I don't know. Seems like an awesome synergy.
Just interesting for me as like thinking like a business perspective. Like if the game company, boom, just drops dead, like now all of a sudden they're getting sued because they can't support a game and they don't even exist. You know, it kind of creates a problem. But I think if you know from the beginning, like, oh, I can just create an exit strategy, it kind of works out. But and until now, it hasn't existed. So
that's right. I mean, the one game I could think of that I was immediately affected by is Anthem. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that game.
Yes. Oh my God.
But
what a letdown.
Like,
what a letdown.
Complete letdown. I mean, just
fucking BioWare, dude, those assholes.
Well, no, I mean that's the funny part is like the BioWare team was good. It was the
Mass Effect 1 through 3 were amazing. Everything else they've released, I mean, besides Star Wars: The Old Republic, everything else they've released is just ass.
Well, I mean, Mass Effect, no, like
no, I said Mass Effect 1 through 3 were incredible. Everything else they've released is just garbage. Yeah. Andromeda sucked. Like all that shit was terrible.
But man, I was super excited for that game, and then completely failed out the gate. Was optimistic for updates. The updates also kind of sucked, and then they were like, "All right, well, thanks for your $70 anyway. We're
pulling the plug. Game didn't work out, guys. Sorry, we had it on for about a year and a half, 2 years, but peace." And they just leave. And I think that's where, you know, again, another problem that DePIN, like I said, Beamable and Tashi can solve that. And like I feel like it's so wonderful working in this industry, especially with you guys, because we are surrounded by just amazing builders with amazing ideas that are literally going to change like lives. They will change so many lives. Besides making more people money, of course, like it will change lives.
I mean, I'm more so interested in what the implications also will be, like at least beyond gaming. But like, I just got an email recently from Squarespace about. I could talk about Square Enix, by the way. Yeah, we can get
speak on it.
Yeah, hold
on it.
We can get into that in a sec, but I was gonna say, like, you know, implications even for people like trying to host their own websites and whatnot. Like, I just got an email from Squarespace again, like, hey, we're gonna charge you another $14.99 per month just to host your domain, whether or not people are using it or visiting or whatever, or whether you've made any updates. And I just feel like, why is it so expensive to host a website?
Why don't you just write the website code yourself and use like Vercel or something? And
yeah, I mean, there for sure are other alternatives, I guess, but I don't know.
I'm being an asshole. It was supposed to be a joke quiz. Sorry.
Thank you. All I did was cry inside, but I don't know. It just another area where I see DePIN could be pretty disruptive is like just making things cheaper for people. You know, we talk about how it could be a passive income opportunity for a lot of folks, but I actually think what it could really do for most people is lower costs substantially for the services that they want to provide. You know, like mom and pop shop at a restaurant already operating on razor thin margins. You know, now they got to consider the cost of a website or getting a developer and all this. You know, we can loop back into the whole AI thing from earlier, but you know, we can. I just feel like we can make life a little bit more affordable for people because times are tough out there, man.
Yeah, man. Agreed.
So, Square Enix won't let go of any of their buried IP. RIP to near mobile games. The only IP that matters from Square Enix still that's relevant is two, which is Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, let's go, baby. Let's go.
Shout out to you, man. You know Kingdom Hearts.
Dude, of course. I grew up on that shit. I love that Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, man.
Keyblades and just all.
I got a Keyblade. I got a Keyblade in my
show it
here. Yeah, I'm gonna grab it. I'll grab it. Right now.
Like dead ass.
Called out.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about, so that's fun.
So you're not a nerd.
It doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me, Tyler.
I'm a nerd. I've never been into gaming. I play, like that's not entirely true. I definitely went through a lot of phases with Call of Duty, but like the PGA thing I did to basically talk to one of my friends that lives in Seattle, but he doesn't play with me. And and now I talk to Brad. Not that you're my second pick by any means, Brad. But
Wow. Freaking
Right.
chopped liver over here,
I have
man.
100 times more.
Real metal, bro.
That's so
Got the
gangster.
chain
Yeah,
on
show
it
the
and
chain.
everything.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. Come closer. Show the chain. That shit is so gangster, dude.
Haven't whipped it out in a while.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, what you mean by that? No, I'm just kidding. No. So yeah, what Will is holding there is a Keyblade from a game called Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
The main character is Sora, and he's a Keyblade master.
Yep.
And that's the weapon that he uses in the game. That's the original Kingdom Key. So
Sounds
shout out
lame as
to Will,
fuck.
dude.
No, it's actually one of Disney's most incredible integrations with an IP ever. So Kingdom Hearts basically took Final Fantasy and Disney IP and combined it all. So like
So good.
basically you have like Final Fantasy characters on Disney like worlds. So you have like Aladdin's world, you have what is it, Little Mermaid, you have what is it, oh my god,
The Halloween one.
yeah. Probably the most popular one, I'd say. But it was just it was neat. It was cool being able to explore all these worlds like from your childhood, like these cartoon worlds. Awesome game though, dude. Classic. I'm so happy I grew up with that shit. Like that was such a cool time to grow up.
Yeah, that was an era.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2 was the best one also.
And then the story got convoluted, and then it got so convoluted. Everyone's like, "What the fuck's happening right now?"
To watch like a 3-hour timeline.
Yeah, just some guy on YouTube had to explain it all.
And still, you have no idea what's happening. Like,
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what's going on. All right.
that's hilarious. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Will's also the only other geek here. Respect.
Yeah, man. OG, dude.
Fire. How this?
Brad's really good at golf. Does that count for anything? Brad's
I could
good
whoop
at golf.
your ass at golf.
I don't think you're whooping
Right.
Brad. I'll be honest with you, Brad.
Well, you guys are both giants too, so that's unfair. One, but two,
Dude, we need to like
No.
put this on stream. Like, let's play.
we could do a Deep in Happy Hour
Ooh.
live golf tournament or something. That'd be a lot of fun.
Ooh,
And
that'd
then
be
Brandon's
fun.
already said we can go play in.
Brad
Brad
told me the last score he shot. I don't think anybody's beating Brad. I'll be real honest with
It
you.
was
Well,
my-
what'd you shoot?
It was my best round I've ever had, but it's 83.
What?
Yeah, it's my best round I've ever
Props.
had. Yeah. Normally I'm like,
Never
normally I'm
mind,
like,
Brad's got me beat. I'll beat you,
Right?
Tyler. I'll beat you, Tyler. I'll beat you.
I don't think you will. I really don't think you will.
what about on PGA? Let's get a little.
I'll beat you on
tournament
PGA.
I don't think you will do that either. I don't think you will.
Dude,
Download it.
I've played video games for decades, bro. I can learn this video game.
Ooh,
I mean,
we gotta get down. We get some three player action on there.
The next Deep in Happy Hour will be over a live stream of PGA 2K25.
Or poker. We were supposed to do poker
Poker.
this time. We should
We
do
were
poker
supposed to
next
do
time.
poker this time.
I found some good.
I thought you were
rooms
gonna
and
find the
games. I
platform.
know. I found a couple. I just haven't decided yet. That's why I didn't. I
Okay,
didn't
so
want to
next-
make it. Yes.
Oh, I'm not going to be here next week. I'm going to be traveling. Sorry.
Just
But the
cancel.
week after, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Ooh, is that a Mick Ultra a seltzer, dude? Those are actually so
Yeah.
underrated.
Well, Publix had them at buy one get one. So
What? Oh, shit, I gotta go grab some, dude. I know I'm
Yeah.
not drinking this month, but
No,
I
this
need
is
to
a
get it
while
for next
ago.
month.
I don't even think it's on. I don't think it's on sale anymore. I'm not a huge seltzer guy, but I love a good deal. So
Yeah. No, the seltzers aren't bad. The seltzers are not bad. Those are
Yo.
my favorite seltzer drinks.
Speaking of deals, at least those relative and deep in, I had a few friends or community members that are becoming my friends pop in, and they've been asking, like, if I wanted to start buying hardware, what would be one of the very first ones that you'd recommend to me? And again, I want to reiterate that nothing that we say on this show is financial advice or should be construed as financial advice. But when he asked, the very first device that came to my head was the dual miner from GeoNet and Wingbits. I feel like that's still to this day probably one of the more interesting or at least fun pieces of hardware out there. And I don't know, thinking about it now, it makes me want to ask you guys, if your friend hit you up and he said, all right, I got X amount of money to spend, like what hardware would you recommend to that person and why?
If I was to make a recommendation to somebody, it would be ease of onboarding, and I think Helium still has the best ease of onboarding experience out there. In terms of profitability, like we have on Deep in Pulse, a rank order returns right now. XNet is dominating that. They're not difficult to set up, but they're definitely a little bit more difficult than the Helium. The returns are going to be a lot better. I think the GeoNet, as much as I love GeoNet, that might also be a little bit more difficult to install. When I set up my first GeoNet, I rented a ladder from Home Depot, had to get up on my roof because I didn't have sufficient line of sight. I jimmy rigged a bunch of different mounting brackets together to get there. So if you're not dedicated to getting this thing set up, that may pose a bit of, and I know that Suburban's got a mounting bracket. I think Helium Deploy sells one. I didn't think to buy that, but ahead of time, I didn't know I needed to. I love GeoNet. They're obviously one of my top 5 projects. Maybe a little bit more difficult than some of the other ones for an intro to DePIN install. I mean, the Helium process is, if you mess it up, like it's as easy as it can be. Their app experience, it's pretty straightforward.
I think maybe we got to talk about our sponsor there too. Probably easiest, most simple. Yeah,
Deep is by far the easiest one. It's literally plug and play. Literally plug and play.
One other cap. By the way, I think the Deep hardware device value for money is 100% there. I think it's going to be one of the top earning potential DePINs if there is. Again, not financial advice. I also recognize that if you're getting into this space, spending $1,000 for a hardware may be more than you're willing to part with. But I think that there's going to be an awesome return on that. So I would say you should definitely go for it. But that's the other one thing about the Helium devices, like $200. Anybody can spend $200. I mean, a lot of people can spend $200. Not anybody, but a lot of people can if they're looking to invest in something.
So on the pre-TGE side of things, Deep definitely, and I think Daba Network too. Daba Network just makes a ton of sense. I mean, like, you manage everything from a dashboard. You literally don't even see the device. Like, you don't touch it. You just manage it from a dashboard. So it obviously it waits to be seen, like, in terms of profitability, but I have a really good feeling, especially after the space we had this week with them about the Genesis liquidity and everything. Like, that's just freaking awesome. Really, I'm happy that they're open to trying new ideas and getting feedback from everyone and saying, oh, it's like, remember what Karam said? He's like, oh, if this is stupid or not, we want to know if it's stupid. We want everyone to tell us if this is a bad idea. So Daba and Deep, I would say, are the two I recommend typically for anyone getting involved in Deep, and besides Helium and XNet and things, because those do require more manual setups. You have to talk to people. You got to market this shit too. So.
I maybe made the assumption too when I was thinking through my initial buy Bitcoin. This is financial advice. That is the best financial advice, is to buy Bitcoin. I was also thinking of projects that already have TGE, because if they buy it and then they're sitting around, they're like, "What am I doing with this plug in?" That's it's just kind of another barrier. But in terms of pre-TGE, we'll hit the nail on the head. I think those are some of the best. Obviously, 375 is there if you got some money to spend,
especially with the Fractals update happening, possibly, right? Quez, Fractals integration, buying fractional shares.
Not quite like, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's like a Fractals integration as much as it is just like a similar approach, right? Fractionalized shares of an edge node, yes, like that. I also think is a very obvious play. I'm a little biased by suggesting the hardware of the company that I work for, so I did want to give a shout out to somewhere else, or at least another project that I admired. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention, that the fractionalized edge nodes, I think, is also dummy simple play. Like the demand is there. We already have contracts. Like,
I'm taking all of Brad's money and spending it on 375 fractionalization. And then I'm just going to take.
Wait, are you betting on your PGA games?
I was going to say, so what he's doing is they're betting on the PGA games. He's going to run Brad for all of his money, take all of that profit and dump it straight into fractionalized.
How many strokes am I giving you if you're winning?
Wow. The disrespect is real. Ouch. Disrespect is real.
We do have to go play golf with Brandon too. I know we were talking about that in the chat. We should definitely do that.
I don't play golf, but I'd be so down to play.
You don't even have to know.
You'll be down to just drink and hang out.
Drink, ride the golf cart,
drive the cigar. So
Yeah.
Bob's got a good question for you. I assume this is directed at Quez. Will the fractionalized nodes be available at TGE?
I wish I could give you an answer. The truth is that I just don't know for sure. All I know is that, at least from what I've been. God, I hope fucking Harry doesn't kill me. Harry was watching this shit, by the way. He texted me and he was like, "Yo, you're using the microphone wrong." But I disagree with. but whatever. And I wrote back to him and I told him I disagree with him. And then he was like, well, actually, I studied sound engineering. And I'm like, what the fuck? What haven't
What
you-
haven't
Yeah,
you
what has he
done?
not
Yeah.
done?
I was the CEO of this other company that did sound engineering. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So, Harry, if you're watching this, please don't shoot me in the face. But what I know is that there's going to be several nodes available. I for sure can't say the number, but and I think it's going to be available at or after TGE. And Bob, I know I wish I could give you a better answer than that, but
Tell
That's
Quez
right.
to open up another one of those Michelob seltzers, and then maybe he'll spill all the
maybe
beans.
I'll
Ooh.
be schmoozed, you know?
Dude, I can't do those seltzers. It just kills me now. I did them for like a summer whenever like White Claws were like really hot.
was
And then
trendy.
like it just and then it was like it just makes you feel like crap. Like the
Yeah,
next day.
no, they're terrible.
So
This is my second one and my last one. Like, that's it.
You gotta switch it back to a Pacifico.
Pacifico or some tequila. Haven't bought any alcohol in a while, so just kind of sitting on what I got in the fridge, you know.
I had a really cool moment where there's a new. I got some bourbon for the stream specifically. There's a new store across the street from me that opened up, and I went in. I gave the dude my number. He's like, "Do you want to sign up for a membership account?" I said, "Sure, I'll get the rewards." And he goes, "You're already in the system." And my wife had went and bought some wine there. I was like, "You're a real one. My wife's a real one because she already signed me up for it, getting those
Nice.
points." Gotta love it. But several nodes. More than one, less than 10, or maybe more than 10. We don't know.
Several can mean a lot of things for sure. Yeah.
Indeed.
What I maybe another thing I could share is that we have whole nodes like that won't be fractionalized that are lined up to be purchased. So like of the 50 that are already going to be out, there's already investors that are purchasing more. So
really,
yeah. So like that. So we'll expand to other parts of the country as well.
That's very
Harry, I love you. Please don't fire me. I like working here, man.
Quez may actually be the lead janitor the next time we come back on this. He's been fired from 375 for talking.
You just see him
too much.
with a mop and like a little janitor suit and on the camera, and he's like, "Oh, how's it going, guys?"
Yeah, I used to work at that place. Yo, I did want to kick it to Brian and Brad about suggested hardware that people should get into if they're just now learning about DePIN, they want to get involved. Like, what's something they should be exploring?
honestly, I think if your hex is available, going the WingBit GeoNet all-in-one is probably a good buy. And then I think Helium's just easy to get involved with. You can, like Tyler said earlier, it's very easy to install. It's intuitive. They've fixed all the issues from 4 or 5 years ago with their IoT devices, so it's not a headache anymore. Yeah, that's pretty much the two I'd recommend. And then a lot of projects are now really looking at this. Deep was one of the most seamless installs I've ever done. Like when they say plug it in, literally they mean plug it in. There's nothing to do on the back end. So between those three, yeah, that's what I would do.
Brad?
Love to see it.
Let's see. I'll throw WeatherXM in there as well if it's the Helium version. Super easy to set up, and I think that's a project that's really undervalued, frankly. I do like GeoNet obviously a lot. And then if you with WingBits, because WingBits hasn't even had their token launch yet, you can dual mine, which is pretty sweet. I like Daba a lot. That's one's hands off. So if someone's trying to get deploy themselves, that's not going to be great for them. But I think it is a good one that's pretty passive. For people that just want to invest. Let's see what else. What other ones? Helium, especially if you have areas with a lot of traffic, foot traffic, like business owners or something, like that's an easy decision right there. Like, or if you're like at a restaurant and you're like, man, the service sucks here. Like that's like pretty easy place to choose. And you could do if you drive a lot, look at Rover. The LC right now, their top end model, it is pricey, but I think a lot of people are ROIing in like 2 months in that right now. And it is, I think that one, if you look at the market cap right now, because the circulated supply is so low, that's a super interesting project, I think. And they're teamed up with GeoNet. So take a look at Rover. It's kind of like the early stages of HiveMapper. If you remember, like the rewards were pretty ridiculous. I think that's kind of where they're at right now. Deep Network, obviously. Let's take a look at the Deep NFTs. I was thinking about this earlier. Like, you look at Deep, you look at Tempe, some of these projects, because the market's so down, you can still get a pre-order in. But if we are in the midst of like a bull run right now where like prices were up, I think that stuff would be selling out and people would have a lot harder of a time getting their hands on it. But that's kind of like when you want to get into these projects is when the market's down.
Yep.
Because most of these projects, they have a set amount of tokens in many cases that are going out. And if you have less participants to compete with, you can get a lot of rewards early on by taking on that risk.
Yeah.
Yes, you can still do well once people are piling in, but like if you really want to, see some crazy multiples, generally like getting in early when the markets are boring is the way to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's the same as that thing with like even just crypto in general, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever. I can't wait for the day that Bitcoin is just smashing past 200K, and then I'm gonna get a flurry of texts like, "Yo, Quez, this is a good time to buy Bitcoin."
It is. That's when you sell. You exit liquidity on your friends that bought in late.
The Tyler playbook, everyone.
Everyone buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve. That's all.
What it will say.
The Tyler playbook. That's the Tyler playbook right there. Unleashing deep in everyone.
No, I don't. I'm never selling my Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, like I've been.
I'm just gonna borrow against it. Honestly, I'm never gonna sell it.
I've been really seriously considering taking the Andy route and like trying to get into either buying into mining pools or doing some mining, even if it doesn't directly profit now. If it's just a break even. I want to get more into the mining side of of Bitcoin because I feel underexposed.
Yep.
After Brad and I played PGA and he made me take a drink of my bourbon, I almost just full ported pretty much everything I have into Bitcoin, and I didn't, and I may still, but we'll see. My wife would kill me. She's like, "You did what?" Like, we've been through this.
I've been on like a regular DCA of Bitcoin, but I tend to buy more when the dips come. So like the last dip we had, just bought a little bit more. But I have a typical like regular DCA going, and then I have my credit cards that have Bitcoin cash back in them.
Yeah.
So that's like the best thing ever.
With Gemini?
No, I have Venmo, the Venmo credit card that does that.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah, 3%. It's not tier. I'm trying to get the Gemini one though, and then Robinhood Gold. They have a card coming out that you'll be able to do Bitcoin cash back as well.
That'd be solid. I do have the Robinhood Gold one, and then but my favorite, my daily is the Gemini Bitcoin card. Like, there's no reason at this point. It's like, here's an interesting question for you guys: is like, should people be spending their crypto? Like, I see a lot of companies. Cast is one of them. Trying to make it easier for you to spend and utilize your crypto, and I can't help but think like, why in God's name would you ever spend any of your Bitcoin when you can just use this imaginary fiat money to pay for the things that you need in real life anyway?
Yeah.
Like, why?
I don't see it. I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to spend. For me, it's a hedge. It's I'm trying to opt out of keeping cash in my bank, and so I don't want to have. I want to have as little cash exposure as I possibly can. Obviously, got the volatility, but like my playbook for the last 3-4 years has been buy DePIN nodes that generate cash flow, use that to hold for the ones that I think I'm really optimistic on, and the other ones that I'm maybe less than optimistic on, I just rotate that into Bitcoin, and that's been a winning strategy, and I will hopefully continue doing that for a while. Obviously, the projects that I've like. I started mining. I was like really early on the CBRS side of mobile, and I didn't sell a single. I held for a long, like years before that materialized. But when it does, it's worthwhile. And so there's still going to be those opportunities. Brad and I were just talking about this the other day. I was like, where is going to be kind of the next opportunity in some of these earlier DePIN, now that the space is frothy, now that you got a lot of people that are actually looking at it. Like when I started, nobody was talking about this stuff. This was just this new, there was like 2 projects that were calling themselves DY, DePIN, whatever. It wasn't DePIN, but it was DY. And, you know, there was upside, but there's still going to be those opportunities. Frankly,
sure.
I think the GPU space in particular is going to be, there's going to be so much value created there that it's not even, it's hard to fathom how much opportunity there is.
Okay, so there's the problem is when you start getting involved, you start trying to go, okay, is it better to buy a device and mine, or is it better just to stick that in that dollar and that fiat amount into an early project? You know,
Brad and I just had this conversation over PGA. Brad, what's your take on this? Because you had a good one. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I think it depends on where the market's at. Like right now, especially earlier on, it's the prices are so suppressed right now. Like you can do some math, like looking at a project like Demo, for example, where, well, I think rewards are about to go up. So a lot of people are about to drop out, but you can look at like, okay, how long is it going to take you to earn that many tokens with hardware versus how many tokens can you buy today, and where are we at in the market cycle as well? Like, if we're like in the midst of a bear market, you have 2 to 3 years that you're looking to accumulate before taking profits. Like, okay, hardware might be the play then. But as you get further into the market cycle, you're like, hey, things are maybe going to get a little bit frothy. We might see things drop out here. Sometimes it's better to find, I think, tokens that are undervalued that you aren't looking to maybe hold as long. So I think it depends on the project, but also where you are in the market cycle too.
Well, I think the other side is it depends on what kind of project you're looking at, right? If you're looking at like DY, I think it's a no-brainer to go Helium, to do Helium deployments, or XNet. If you're looking at like device deployments, that's pretty much the same thing. Go GeoNet, whatever, you're going to be fine. But when it comes to like some of these AI stuff, buying a computer, putting a bunch of GPUs in it, that's a lot of money. You can spend $1,000, or you can spend $5,000 or $6,000 or even more on an AI rig, but you just don't know what your ROI is going to be, or if you're going to ROI. You could just spend a lot of money on hardware and a lot of electricity, and be stuck and been better off spending $5,000 on a token. So I think until we see a little bit more consistency in some of these AI projects, it's going to be really hard to tell what you should do.
That's true, because we're still at this point, right, where we've seen it this year. Obviously, like DePIN is unfortunately still going to be very volatile. Depending on market conditions, I think eventually we'll see more of a decoupling. We'll see more, your earnings will be more leveled out. But I think now, especially, like you almost have to play that volatility, or you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. So over time we'll see that dissipate. I mean, we're seeing like with GeoNet. GeoNet has corrected, but not nearly as much as the other projects, because I think they have sustainable revenue and they have token burns, and I think they're starting to decouple a bit.
Yeah.
But it's really hard if you're going to start a deployment business. Like, you want to get ROI. You also want to get, maximize your returns, and cover yourself for taxes, because at least as it stands today, your tax base is based on the value when you earned it. So it's really a tough decision. And I know a lot of people have different methods. Like some people cash out a percentage every week. But if you're not, like for me, if I'm not relying on that as my like income to, pay my bills, then I'm looking at more like, hey, I'm waiting for this project to take off, accumulate now with the thought of more upside potentially in the future.
Yeah, I think part of the conversation is also like your personal financial situation is going to be highly indicative of the strategy that you take. So like if you're looking for, hey, I want to take $200 and then eventually turn that into $1,000, buying an XNet hotspot, you'll get that in a year if you do that. And so you don't really like, if the price just stays flat, you'll be there as long as you have it in a decent location. But if you've
gone through some cycles, you've got some kind of cash to spend that you could put it to work, and you're not as reliant on that as kind of being your primary source, as you said, Brad, then I think that also changes your approach for how you play the game a little bit. Because you're right. Because the other, the dirty secret that people are cognizant of, but they don't always glamorize as much as they should, or maybe the lack thereof, is building a deployment business it's non-trivial. I mean, you do have to go out, build relationships, set these things up, manage your payment splits. I mean, it is a job. So it's not like you're just going to be able to sit back and kind of make money on money. So, you just have to be realistic about where you're at. But at the end of the day, like if I had $500 to spend on this, I would go find the highest earning ROI project that I could, leverage that cash flow stream to then start getting into more of the kind of investment play where you can let the money work for you. But it's going to be very situationally dependent.
For sure.
Agreed.
Do you see a decentralized compute with a BYOB device being financially viable on a project soon, as far as like building out micro data centers? That's a big question.
I just feel like we're seeing more and more of these projects that start with, keep it open source, bring your own, and then a lot of them are now shifting to hardware, their own hardware. So like, I don't know, man. Like, one of the things that we're kind of seeing there in a pseudo form is like what Havelo is doing, where you can take your own device, connect to them, and they have 11 different options now for projects they'll connect you with that you can use your hardware to mine. So I think that we'll see more of that type of application. I think that's freaking awesome. I think Havelo is going to do well. Because Tyler and I were talking about this the other night while we were playing PGA. But for real,
gonna download it now. Like you're gonna have to. It's even the DePIN happy hour going. But
we were having like 2-hour discussions about DePIN. But we were talking about how like some of the project founders need to kind of like take off their engineering hat a little bit and realize, like, guys, 95% of the freaking population doesn't understand half that stuff. Like, they're gonna want a way to very easily participate. And like Project Havelo, where you can literally just download their application, it finds the projects for you, and you can like monetize your compute resources. Like, it makes a ton of sense. And I know for like developers, like, well, why wouldn't they just do it themselves? It's like, yeah, but like it's not. You gotta
that's
like
a subset of the population.
They saw a need for aggregating all of this and making it super simple, and doing a fiat off ramp too. Like they provide the conversion for you, which is incredible.
And I was looking at their token earlier, and it's only a 500,000 market cap.
I know. I've been staking all of mine. I've been earning those airdrops and just staking all of it.
Like when you get into, and I do actually want to ask you guys what your sentiment is around like what alt season could look like here with Ethereum hitting 4,000. It's looking like it will, at least. Where you think things can go, but like 500,000 market cap for something that's getting a lot of usage like that is, when money starts to flow, you can see crazy multiples on those from those types of market caps.
100%.
By the way, we got to highlight Bob's question. This is probably, I will go as far as saying this is the best question that we have received during the stream, which is, if you had 2K, what DePIN project or token would you invest in? I'll give you my answer first. If we're talking token right now, I would put it all into GeoNet. I think for the risk return based on the migration to Salana, the things that are happening on the revenue side, that's where I would put my money. On the hardware, I frankly would look for where the greatest ROI is. And right now that is on XNet in terms of live tokens. So if I was to pick a project that was, again, going to give me money to go and kind of invest and do what I wanted to and other things, I think that's a no-brainer. But if I was to pick one, and even between the two right now, I'd probably pick GeoNet because I think they're poised for so much success between the rover stuff, between the real Fortune 500, 1,000 companies that are leveraging their network, yada, yada, yada. Mike's a Chad, so there's that. But that's what I would do. But I'd love to know your guys's 2K one pick.
2K one pick. I guess software side of things. I loved yours, Tyler, but I will say I think Natix has a real shot. They're earning more and more revenue. So accordingly to what their network metrics, their token performance hasn't been terrible. And it's a low enough market cap to where you can get some really good ROI on it. I think it's like a $20 million or $30 million market cap right now. So I think you can still get some really solid ROI on that token. So in terms of token purchase, yes, that hardware purchase. Obviously, you mentioned XNet. I think that's great. We talked about Deep before. Obviously, that's still pre-TGE, but I would say, the Helium indoor hotspot, man. Like I've ROI'd those like in a month sometimes. So those aren't bad.
By the way, my criteria is projects that already have a token because obviously that's a piece of it. Like Deep's an easy pick, but since they haven't TGE'd yet, I'm only considering the ones that have just as a function of a token thing. So,
but GeoNet's solid. GeoNet's super solid, of course. I think that they just really speak for themselves. But yeah, those are my picks. I would say Helium hotspot and Natix token.
The last one.
I haven't gone yet, but go ahead, Quez.
No, why don't you?
Let me go. All right.
We'll have Quez do an outro too on his last pick. That's perfect.
So it depends on what your time frame is, and are you going for moonshots, or are you looking for like a more sustainable return? Like as far as investing in the token, like love GeoNet. Obviously, I'll piggyback what Tyler said, but you have to look. It's sitting at a $45 million market cap. So like, what's that going to run to? I think out of all of these, like GeoNet's probably to me the safest play. Looking further out, especially. But if I'm looking at like a moonshot rover, sitting at $1 million market cap, short-term upside, I think is massive because there's still like another 6 months before tokens start unlocking to their team and investors, and then it's a 2 to 3 year vesting from there. So super low float. They're teamed with GeoNet. They already have people wanting to buy their data, and they're providing a data set that's going to be really necessary for self-driving vehicles. So I think Rover's a great moonshot play from where it's at. Can do a lot of multiples. Another like safer one would be Arweave, my top storage play. I think Arweave is an incredible project. Moonshot in that ecosystem is REO. It's an indexer for Arweave that's sitting at like a $2 million market cap right now. So those are the tokens that I would probably be looking at right now. And then take a hard look at H&T too, what they're doing. As far as like hardware goes, though, GeoNet and I think Wingbits. I think that one's probably going to end up paying dividends, man, for sure. That's probably what I'd look at. Yeah,
I love it. All right, since Quez is going to roll us out, Brian, what are you at?
I'm just gonna have to say Conduit Network because I'm in deep.
Not biased at all.
No, not biased at all. I would say is go buy Node Zero, go buy a PC off of Facebook Marketplace. You're at about $2,000 there, and now all of a sudden you can begin mining, and I think it's going to launch at less than $0.50, 50 cents, something like that, quarter to 50 cents a token, and I think we got a quick shot to $1 on that, and easy up from there.
I would say looking at overall adoption, looking at what people are using, maybe not even just considering mindshare also, but I think Helium is like a really, really great play. I mean, a lot of attention, a lot of usage. There's so much upside. They're helping out a lot of the major telecom businesses. I just think it's like a really, and we've seen what it ran to before on narrative alone. And if you look at the difference between what helium was at before versus where it's sitting now, you know, it's a substantially better business in every single measurable metric. And, you know, the price is not quite reflecting it. So, you know, looking at it purely from a fundamentals point of view, I think it's, you know, you want something safe that definitely has upside. That's probably where I would dump my my 2K if it was purely on tokens. And again, the only reason I would even say the token angle is kind of like what Brad was making the argument for. You know, how long is it going to take me to accumulate the same amount that I could purchase for 2K flat out versus you know, having to buy the device and then mine it, you know, over what period of time? I think either way you slice it is probably going to be either rough. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. Like, it might be roughly the same, but if you're like me and you're quite, I don't want to say impatient, but you're trying to make something happen ASAP. I mean, I'm just buying the token and calling it a day. So,
Not
gentlemen,
financial
any
advice.
final takes here?
What is Smedley saying? He's saying a 25-year-old Glenn Livet is a great ROI.
And shots.
You get about
He's
10
a-
shots.
I'm more of a bourbon guy, but I respect it. I respect the. That sounds like some decent financial advice that you said is not financial advice, but you know, we'll throw it in there. We'll throw it in there.
Nice.
Final takes.
Final
God, I don't
takes,
know.
anybody?
I don't know. Keep on keeping on. I think that we're in for a like wild ride here. Especially figuring out if the Fed will cut rates here in August.
They have to now.
Exactly. If that happens, I think we'll start seeing a little bit an ease of pressure on the markets and maybe more number go up action happening. Not significant number go up action happening, but I think a decent amount until we get more quantitative easing and whatnot. So, I mean, just keep on keeping on. Like, if you have a current plan you're following, just keep following that plan.
Brad and I talked about this over our PGA game.
Stop
Brad,
making me jealous about PGA. Stop it.
What's your take on the Fed lowering rates and the short-term, long-term impact on the market?
I have a little bit of a contrarian view on this. I think we could see a run up potentially August, September. No one's expecting that. Most people like in the crypto space, I think, are saying, "Oh, August and September always suck for crypto," which is normally true.
It's like for the markets in general. It's like
yeah. So I kind of have a contrarian view because I think everyone is like expecting the Fed to cut rates and think it's going to be some silver bullet to like fix everything.
Yeah, it won't.
It won't. And I think like when people really come to the realization that the Fed has lost control of the bond market and we have so much debt we have to refinance, and we're already starting to see pretty weak demand on our longer term treasuries. Like, I think we could see like a little bit of a rally when the rates do get cut, and we could see like a 50 basis point cut in September. But I almost think that people are going to realize how fucked we really are once it does finally happen, and we could see a sell off. For a period of time. It's kind of what I'm thinking, but I don't know. We'll see.
But
Brian,
then
Tyler?
what Michael Saylor says, like, you don't sell your Bitcoin. You don't sell your Bitcoin. You never do that. I don't know.
Kanye, you don't own me. You ain't gonna sell no Bitcoin. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
My final take is just to answer a PM that Bob sent me is yeah, there are no node zeros available right now, but they will be back the next round. Once the devices are out, they will be back and available for purchase.
That's great.
Did you just say PM? I never heard PM before. I thought he said PM. No, I'm just saying. I thought I heard you say PM.
Private message. Why not? PM. It works.
No. It's DM, dude. It's definitely DM. It's not PM. We're not doing that game.
Okay, sure. I age myself. Sure.
All right. So
all right, Grandpa.
Here's my final take. If you download PGA, you can come talk DePIN with Brad and I. We will be on tonight. Shoot us a DM. We literally only talk deep in the markets while I kick Brad's ass in PGA. So that's what it is. That's my non-financial advice, financial advice for this evening. And you will see if I'm telling the truth or not if you come play. So there's that.
Yeah, just slip in our PMs. We'll be there. So.
Slip in the PM.
God.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, man.
Is Brian the oldest of all of us? I don't know, man. I might have heavy beat.
Oh, 37.
Yeah, but when Brad told me his age, I was like, damn, you are old.
How old is Brad?
I'm 39.
Man.
Oh, I'm not the old one.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect.
Damn, you don't look the part, brother.
He doesn't. He looks great.
Thanks, sir.
That's what pissed
Thank
me
you.
off. He's like tall and handsome, and I was like, Brett, what the fuck, dude? I was like,
Damn.
That's why we always play PGA together, because we're the over 6 foot crew.
you guys are the over 6 foot crew, and it's really pissing me off. All right, don't remind me.
How tall are you, Tyler?
6'3".
Yeah, you got some height.
I'm not very tall, but I can hoop, so that's what matters.
That's all that matters, bro.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
I love
Dude,
it.
I'm ready to
All right,
kick you guys'
Quez.
butt
All right.
in PGA.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna start downloading it right now. Fuck it.
Let's go.
It's only
Happy hour
cost you like
continues.
$100. We're good. Yeah.
Jesus.
Will, any final takes you wanted to leave for our audience here before we wrap it all up? Or no,
I
you already- you
guess-
keep on- Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple
Go,
things.
go
So,
again, Will. Go
one,
again.
I'm going to say it again. Just keep on keeping on. If you have, Joe's like, bring me on. Maybe next time, dude. Maybe next time. I will say, just keep on keeping on. If you have a current strategy of investment thesis that you're working with, I mean, just don't stop. I would say. I mean, we might see some more turbulence here in the near future, just like Brad talked about. But I feel like overall, the melt up theory that me and a lot of people have had, including Brad, because he's nodding there in agreement. So I think that will happen eventually. Just give it some time. Don't let people, fudge your bags, and don't sell your bags into the bear when the crazy parabolic bull is just right around the corner, hopefully. But that's my final take there. Aside from the fact that if you heard us earlier in the stream, you probably heard us earlier in the stream. I'm just going to shout out Deep again for sponsoring the stream here. Really, really love working with those guys. Definitely check them out. I'll share my screen one more time here to show where you can get yourself a DePIN NFT here. Again, this thing will be required to run a deep network device. So when you buy one of these things, it'll act as a reservation as well as your node license to run that. So definitely check it out. Look into doing that. We all have deep devices, really easy, simple stuff, plug and play. Just wanted to shout them out. Check them out at deep.network. That's 3 E's, deep.network. Really, really appreciate them. And Quez, go for it, sir.
Yeah, my final take is
Mic check.
Here we go.
imagine being a fucking hater, bro. Imagine waking up.
I just saw Joe's comment. Joe, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Shit. Who are you? I couldn't do that shit, man. Listen, man, all I'm saying is that it's a reflection of who you are. And I don't need none of that. All right? All this shit right here, we're talking about the good things. We're talking about how we're going to build for the future. And there's nobody I'd rather do it with than the DePIN Happy Hour crew. What's up?
I used to cop a lot, but I'm a cop, no drop. Hold mics like ponytails tight.
Dude, Quez has me beat on being a radio host.
I'm doing Dickie sound of the fly brown 6060
Well, get me out of here, dog.
Hell yeah. All right, guys.
Destroy rap.
Thank you so much. Catch us next time again, 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday night. You can catch Tyler and Brad on PGA. We'll see who wins. We'll follow up with them next week. But thank you so much for tuning in. Joe, thank you for your kind words.